For our final take on the Markan priority hypothesis, we'll have a look at a small slice of a story where Jesus gives the disciples the business for having hard heads. Are the differences between Matthew and Mark innocent, or is Matthew trying to whitewash something? One argument by Markan prioritists is that Matthew improves the disciples when he's copying Mark in this story. The supposed basis for this being that in Matthew he berates them with a pointed question only 4 times, whereas in Mark he does it 8 times. How this amounts to an improvement is hard to say. The more likely answer is that both Matthew and Mark had a common source, and while Mark preserves Peter's memory of a quite unpleasant correction session, Matthew is more interested in didactic functions, and figures he didn't need 8 sarcastic questions to make his point. That's something I think critics need to get themselves. Another critic supposes proof of Markan priority in Matthew's interpretation of the leaven in terms of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. It's claimed that Matthew seems here to be trying hard to extract a tolerable sense from the intolerable statement that Mark appears to be making, which is that Jesus taught in parables to prevent outsiders from understanding. But that understanding of Mark is wrong to begin with. Matthew and other ancient people would have never found such an idea intolerable, because that was normal teaching practice. What Matthew has more likely done here, though, is make more explicit for didactic purposes what is already implicit in the teaching. In theory, this series could go on for quite a long time looking at examples like these, but there's really no point since the point each time would be the same. The principal motivation of the literary theorist isn't literary evidence. It's an ideological belief that by tracing a path from Mark, or Q's allegedly simpler and less developed version of events, they can somehow trace an evolutionary path that explains Christianity in material terms.